Hello and welcome to the MyClayCo studio. I am Tegan and today we are going to be making reusable stencils. We love using stencils for our polymer clay creations, but you can use them for a range of arts and crafts projects. You can also use them for things like baking or coffee art or wall art. So there are a heap of things you can do with them. I'll be showing you the material that I use to make stencils, as well as some other alternative options that you can use. I'll also be showing you where you can find pre-made stencil designs, and we'll also be going through how you can make your own. We are going to be using the xTool M1 today that has a blade cutting function, but you can use other blade cutting machines like a Silhouette or a Cricut. We are xTool partners, so if you do want to check out their machines, please check out the link in our description below. It does help to support our channel. All right, let's get into it. So we are going to be using mylar in our stencil making today. Now the mylar that I have is 10 mil mylar. When I say mil, it doesn't mean millimeters. It actually is spelled MIL, and apparently it is a unit of measurement for the thickness of plastic. So I commonly see these mylar sheets in 7 or 10 mil thickness. There are a range of other sizes that you can get though, but if you are looking for something a little bit thinner than the 10 mil, you can look at something like the 7 mil. As well as mylar, there are a few other alternatives that you can use. So there are PVC sheets, you can use acetate sheets, or the other thing that I actually did when I first started making stencils was that I got laminating pouches. I put them through the laminator so that they would stick together, and you can actually use them to make your stencils. So there are a range of options out there. You can just pick the one that works best for you. So before we get started, I'm also going to mention how you actually get the stencil design. Now, if you are not a designer, that is totally fine. You can actually just get pre-made stencils. So we love Creative Fabrica for this. They have a whole range of different stencil options, but you can just give it a quick Google and you will find that there are a range of these also on Etsy. As well as using designs that are pre-made for stencils, you can also look at other designs like cutaway card designs. Now, if you are keen on making your own stencil designs, I'm also going to be showing you how to do that today. First up though, I'm going to give you a quick look at how we can make sure our machine is set up correctly. Okay, so I have my light grip cutting mat set up in my xTool here, and what I'm going to do now is just jump on my laptop and I'm going to do a couple of tests to make sure I've got the settings right for the mylar stencil. Okay, so before I get started, we're just going to make sure that we have this set up correctly on the blade cutting function. The other thing that I'm going to do is make sure we've got it set to the right materials. So if you aren't using an xTool machine, if you've got a Cricut or a Silhouette, then you may do this in a different way. But what I'm going to do is just use this transparent frosted PVC sheet because it is the most similar to the mylar sheets that I have. So we're just going to go confirm. And then what I am going to do is I am just going to pop a circle here. And that then brings up my settings overview. So for the transparent frosted PVC sheet, it does have a cut pressure of 360 and a speed of 80, and it's got 4 passes there. So I have made stencils before in here, and I know particularly if you have a finicky shape that you really do need this 360 pressure. One thing that I haven't tested though is the number of passes that you need. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a few of these circles. So let's just copy and paste them. And we are just going to test if we did this at 2 passes, if we did this one at 3 passes, and if we did this one at 4 passes, how many we will actually need. I definitely recommend doing these kind of tests before you get started. Sometimes it is worth sacrificing one piece of your material so that you can make sure you do have it set up correctly. All right, so let's make sure that we have everything ready to go. And then we are going to go to process, and we are ready to test this out. Okay, we are all done. And as we can see, obviously the 4 passes definitely goes through, but let's have a look at these 2 and 3 passes. Okay, so the 2 and 3 passes all cut through. Let's have a look at the sharpness on them. They all look pretty good. I do have a new blade in here, so what I might do is just go with number 3, just to be sure. You will find that the blades do dull a little bit over time. So if we do the setting of 3 passes, that will ensure that even as the blade does blunt a little bit, we'll still be good to go. Now, the other thing I will just show you in Creative Space here is that you can go into this Applications tab and you can do a material test array. So all that you do is you create your shape, you go material test array, and you can actually test all different types of pressures and speeds. You can alter all of these settings in here, go done, and it will actually create a test grid for you, which is pretty cool. As I mentioned, I have made stencils before, so I already know my pressure and speed, but thought this would be handy to show you. Now, the other thing you may want to use if you are using an xTool is just go into your device settings here, and you will see that there is a calibrate button. So you can actually go into this, you put a plain sheet of paper in there, it'll make a series of cuts on there, and you just pick which one has the lightest cut, and that will help you calibrate it to make sure that you've got the right pressure going on. I have already calibrated this, so I am not going to do it again today. So once we're happy with our settings, it's time then to find our stencil design. I'm going to jump on Creative Fabrica and we're going to find a pre-made stencil to do. So all that we're going to do in Creative Fabrica is we're just going to search stencil. As I mentioned before, you don't have to do this through Creative Fabrica. You can look at other places to get stencils on Google, or you can check out Etsy. It is handy though to just pay the one fee and have access to thousands of designs. So I'm just going to have a look and see if there's one here that jumps out at me. That one is cute. So I'm actually thinking it might be cool for us to make a stencil that we can use on a trinket dish. So how about we go with this one here? One thing that I do really love about Creative Fabrica is that almost all of their designs on here, it does have commercial use allowed. So we're just going to go download on that one. And then we are just going to bring it into xTool. So I am in Creative Space here. I'm just going to go import image, and we will get our floral mandala here. We are then just going to go trace, and that will give us the outline of this beautiful mandala. We'll delete that original one. And then I'm just going to pop this up here. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to resize it. So I'm going to be putting this onto a polymer clay trinket dish, and they are 10 centimeters. So we want to change this to 95 millimeters so that it does fit inside the trinket dish. And then I'm also just going to pop a rectangle around this, and then this will cut out the actual outline of the stencil. So what I will do is just also go align, so we have our stencil beautifully in the middle here. And last but not least, we need to make sure that we have our cut settings set up correctly. So we've got it at the 360 pressure, the 80 speed, and we were going to pop this back to 3 passes. All right, we're ready to go. Okay, let's have a look. Looks good. Now you can see my mat has lost a bit of its stickiness, so the cutaway bits have kind of weeded themselves. It is better though for them to stay stuck to the mat, otherwise they can interfere with what the blade's doing. So it might be time for us to give it a wash and rejuvenate it. So we have our first stencil all done, and now what we are going to do is actually create our own stencil. All right, so we are ready to create our own stencil design, and all that I'm going to do is go into the shape part here. Now you can import your own files if you like, so if you do have a shape that you want to turn into a stencil, or if you've designed something, say on Procreate, like we often do, you can just import those shapes through the main menu here using the import image function. But what I am going to do is just have a look and see what shapes they have. They actually have some really cool shapes here. Ooh, Monstera. I am a big fan of Monsteras, so we are going to go the Monstera. Now, one thing I will show you here, I think that this stem of the Monstera might be a little bit finicky, so I am actually going to edit this, and I'm going to delete this bit here by deleting the nodes. So the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up to here and I'm just going to go simplify, and that will actually reduce the number of nodes here, and I find that it kind of gives a bit more of a smoother effect. Now if you do find that you have ones like this here that are a little bit, they've got a little bit of a weird shape to them, just created an extra node there, you can just click on it. And you'll actually be able to just click on this one, perfect symmetry, and that will then give you this smoother outline here. So let's see if there's any other ones that we want to change. I'm just going to delete one of these. And I'm just going to use that perfect symmetry again, and it's given us this nicer, rounder finish here, and I think I am happy with that Monstera. So let's grab our Monstera shape. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I am just going to create an outline for it. Now I actually think that I might go for a rounded rectangle on here. I don't know why, I just think rounded rectangles are cuter. And I just want to make this, let's go, we'll go 12. Oops, 12 centimeters there. And then all that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place these Monsteras in here. And we're going to create a little bit of a pattern. Okay, and what I'm actually going to do, I'm then going to grab all of these Monsteras and we are going to go distribute vertically, and that is just going to space them out evenly. I am then going to copy this whole line of Monsteras, and then I'm actually going to paste them and then flip them. Oops. Away. And then we'll be able to slot them in here, and we can fix up the spacing in just a moment. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. Until we've filled up our page. Okay, and our last step now is just to make sure that we've got our Monsteras nicely placed on our stencil. Now you might find as you are getting these in place that you do have some overlap with the stencil here. That is fine, and I will show you in a moment how we are going to actually create a seamless edge around here. Okay, so I am pretty happy with that. I'm actually now just going to move this. Actually, I'm going to delete that. And then we're going to go select all, and we're then going to go up here and go unite. And that will unite our pattern all together. I'm then going to, let's pop my rounded rectangle back in. I'm actually going to do this at 11. And then we're going to select both of these parts and we're going to go unite at overlap. And as you can now see, it's now cut around the edge and given us this beautiful edge on our stencil here. You can, if you do find that there's some bits that maybe you're not after. So if we have a look down here, we've got this tiny little bit here that we might just look at deleting. We can go into edit. Let's zoom in a little bit here. And we can then just delete the nodes associated with it. Right, and then I think we are all good to go. So the last thing that I want to do is I want to grab another one of our rounded rectangles, and we are now going to do this one at 12. And we're just going to pop that around this here. So let's get this centered. Beautiful, we've got that perfectly centered. And then here we select both of these, and then we want to go to this bit here that's Make Compound Vector. So that's going to combine it all here. Now if you do then want to go back and edit it, you can go Release Compound Vector, but otherwise we are pretty much ready to go. So what I'm going to do is just pop over here. We've got all of our settings set up correctly. I'll just change this back to the 3 passes. And then we are ready to go to test out our stencil. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you aren't using xTool's Creative Space, if you're using, say, Cricut Design Space or Silhouette Studio or something else, you may find that the name of the functions I've just shown you are called something else. So you just need to work out what they're called in your software. Okay, we are all done. Let us have a look and see how it went. How cute is that? We've got our stencils all cut and ready to go. Now let's go make something. I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial today on how to make your own reusable stencils. If you do have any questions or comments, please pop them below. And if you do want to see more tutorials like this, we would love you to like and subscribe. Right, see you next time.